All right, we are live for the 6th episode of the HSL South Florida.
Let's Go podcast, and
Let's
we
go!
have made it through season
Joey, can we get a let's go?
Let's go!
We've
I'm
made
There
it
we
going
through
go.
nuts
season
now.
1 of South Florida softball. Thanks very much to Joey Katz, who has
Commissioner Katz,
absolutely
say his name. Put
Commissioner
respect on his
Katz,
name, as the booth says.
non corporate Katz, who has very much taken the lead, and Storm, and has helped grow HSL South Florida to levels we couldn't understand. We expect at least one, maybe two new teams for next.
This is a cluster.
I'm here. Sorry, I got a phone call. I'm here though. Before we get into that, we would like to. You guys are with me, right?
Yeah, bro.
Okay. So we would like to introduce our playoff scenarios. It's been an awesome season. We've broken it up into 2 tiers, and Joey Katz is here to help introduce the playoffs this week, the championships next week, which obviously we won't know, but talk about it a little bit. I will not hopefully, but I have a flight booked, so I expect to be at the championship game next Thursday night. But we're here to introduce the playoffs
Championship
tonight.
games.
Right, tier 1 and tier 2, both games. So, Joey, we're glad to have the South Florida commish on the pod, and we're going to ask you some questions to discuss the upcoming matchups.
Okay,
so, Dave,
ask away.
take it away.
Joey, is it true that as commissioner of the league, you make all the players call you daddy? Is there any truth to those rumors?
Daddy or Tati?
You're allowed to call you Tati. The
There are
former
lots
players call you Tati.
only
What is the
a
pest?
couple.
What does the pest call you?
Sugar Daddy.
Nah.
Sugar daddy. Okay. So ask away. So Avi, were you starting with a question or should I start? Go ahead.
We could first start by, let's recap the season. I know that Rides to Fly started off hot, ended off cold. I know Smash House started off cold. Am I wrong?
No, you're very right.
I know Smash House started off cold, ended off hot. I know that Florida Jewish Home, Sensible Marketing, Alpha Tech, after their loss heard around the world week 1, absolutely dominated the rest of the season. So, those are the 3 top head honchos I'm not as familiar with. I know Burger Hicks was a surprise team that came out and competed. I know, Joey, your team was totally revamped in the middle of the season. And there are some other teams also that I'm just not as familiar with. So I guess let's break it down. Let's go through the seedings, the standings, who's in tier 1, who's in tier 2, and what's that looking like?
Yeah,
let me pull it up on my phone just so I can follow along. Playoff matches.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
got it.
for tier
Joey,
1.
nice. Sorry, I get why they call you daddy. These are really nice brackets that you made.
Thank you. Shout out Nellie Lauren.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever her name is. So yeah, let's go through it. So let's start with tier 2. Tier 2, we got NYEG, the Blue Ballers, as the 1 seed. We got Schlesinger Law Offices as the 2 seed. Chaiwalk Flying Gefiltas as the 3 seed. And coming in, last but not least, Addictive Ads as the 4 seed in tier 2.
Of course. Let's give us some recap. So those teams, who finished hot, who finished ugly, who was always
I would say Addictive Ads finished hot because they won the last game of the season, so they finished the season with a win. I would say Chaiwalk finished pretty cold. I'd say Schlesinger finished pretty neutral. They did have a big win against Ride Supply, which is a crazy upset. And I definitely think with their full team, I see them winning tier 2. And then you have NYEG, which is, they're going to be absent their pitcher for tonight, as there was a, we won't get into it, some league controversy.
He was suspended?
He was, the league brought down a suspension. That is correct.
Wow.
Yes.
Are we talking about that here, or we're not talking about that here?
We might as well at this point.
Okay, what was he suspended for?
He was suspended for an ejection. It really wasn't just the ejection. He was suspended for the aftermath of the ejection. We believe at HSL that making a Kiddush Hashem and not a Chil Hashem, and I don't want everyone to say, oh, it wasn't a whatever. I'm just saying the umpires happen to not be Jewish, and, talking back to them and fighting with them, whatever it is, doesn't help the HSL brand. So we had to come down and, make an example.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't, like Joey's saying, it doesn't matter who the person is or who the player is, and we've dealt with this and we've discussed this publicly in regards to men's basketball leagues also. The point just is that HSL, Joey down in Florida, us here in New York, our sole mission is to put the best possible product on the field for everybody, including everything: hype, merch, food, umpires, and all we ask in return is just to act like a regular good person. Forget Judaism, not Judaism. Just act like a good person, treat everyone with respect. And unfortunately, there are times where the league feels like, in order to really reinforce that and show the league that we're serious about what we're asking for, we have, these situations are called for. The timing, of course, is very unfortunate, and I'm sure Joey was not. It was not a simple thing for Joey to be put in front of, especially with the playoffs coming up. But it's something that we extremely are very quote unquote stark about, and are is something that unfortunately needs to happen in situations. It's not unheard of. These things happen, and unfortunately, it's happening here. And hopefully, it's a message to everybody in the league that as much as we do to put into the league, and Joey spends a lot of that time on this. A lot of time he doesn't need to be spending on, but he does because he cares about the league and he wants the league to grow, and that's all we ask in return. So that's, I think, what I would say on the
Yeah,
on
and
the topic.
like I told these guys, I said, listen, I think they could win without him. So should they win, he'll be back for the championship. But I don't. Is he a good pitcher? Yes, he's a solid pitcher, but he doesn't do anything so crazy. So anyone else can really get on that mound and throw strikes. He's not Menachem Diamondstein or anything like that.
And who are
All
they
right.
playing against?
They're playing against Addictive Ads. They should win listen, I happen to think that Addictive Ads is much better than their record is, to be honest with you. I personally wouldn't want to play Addictive Ads. I think, they're the harder matchup out of them or Highwalk, to be honest. Addictive Ads played well against Burger Hicks. They lost, I think, 13-7. They can play. They do make a lot of errors. But then again, that's softball, and this is tier 2. Not, obviously, teams that are in it aren't the best teams, so really it's anyone's game. I personally think that NYEG will win in that one, and I think Schlesinger will win in the game versus Highwalk, which would leave NYG versus Schlesinger in the championship. And, I do think that Schlesinger will come out of that one. I think NYG obviously did beat them both times, but I think the first time was before the revamping of the team, and the second time the pitcher showed up in the third inning. So, based off of that, I do think Schlesinger will beat NYG for the Tier 2 crown. But now that brings us to Tier 1, where Menachem Diamondstein is not going to like this, and Irisas is not going to like this, but I personally think Smash House is the team to beat.
So I want to get into that, Joey, because I was speaking with Joey on the phone yesterday, and I said I assume with Rides to Fly being so cold that Diamondstein and Sensible, Florida Jewish Home, Apple Tech are the clear favorites, and Joey's like, no, actually I think Smash House is better than them. So I was a little taken back because I actually would like to hear more about that, Joey. So I was down there. So I saw Smash House. They put up a very good fight. Ultimately, lost to Rides to Fly when I was there. If I'm not correct,
They didn't have their pitcher. They didn't. Their
if
pitcher
I'm
was
not
not
mistaken. It could be, but I would like to hear from you why you think Smash House is the team to beat in the Tier 1 bracket.
So I'll be honest with you. Smash House added 3 absolute ringers in Jazz Chisholm, Mo Vaughn, and Juan Soto. We don't know their real names, but that's what we'll call them.
What
So
color are they?
we're not about color, Dave. We're not about color. They don't look like me and you. We'll just say that. But Menschlich guys, they're from
They are very nice guys, by the way.
they're
I
from
was
Shevet
talking with them. They're
We'll say that.
very nice people. They are very, very nice.
They're our long lost brethren, like
Yes, they
Yehoshua
are.
Stoudemire.
Yes.
So basically, and I think Menachem Diamondstein said it himself. Smash House is a scary team. That team they were solid before, and with those guys, that team can hit. They beat Burger Hicks pretty decisively 8-4 in the last regular season game, and Burger Hicks, their pitcher Hirsch hasn't, I don't think, ever given up 8 runs. Rides to Fly, I do think. Listen, I love Zim, Max Klein, I love those guys, but I think that they've been struggling. I think Smash House does win that game. And then I think in Florida Jewish Home / Sensible / Alpha Tech versus Burger Hicks, I think Diamondstein wins I don't know, 7-1 or 6-2. And then I think the championship between Smash House and Diamondstein, I don't think it'll be very high scoring by any means, but I think Smash House will win 4-2 or something like that.
So going back to these semis, I'm very curious. What would, if you ask a guy like a Mully Fine or their shortstop, who apparently is phenomenal, I forget his name,
Quint.
or even their outfielder is also a great player. Their left fielder, what's his name again? The truck, the one who's awesome. I forget his name.
Freud, Hulk.
Freud. So these guys, would these guys admit to you that they're the underdogs in this matchup? Do they think
I think my inside scoop, my Buster Only ESPN insider, to quote Jared Shulman, we effing suck.
So what's their plan? I'm just going to sidetrack. What's their plan for next season? They're just running it back with the same squad. Are they making big
They're I
moves?
think they're running it back with the same guys that committed every week, and they're adding on some additional. I think. Listen, I'll be honest. When Schlesinger beat them, they were missing 6 guys. You know, in the end of the day, they still had some majority of their core there. So I don't really know how big of an excuse that is. I think that was really rock bottom for them. But I also think that they realized that they came in all high and mighty and like, oh, this is gonna be a breeze. But I think they realized like, shoot, you know, Diamond Scene obviously has our number. The first game was first game of the season. It took time. They, you know, very very single handedly got whooped by them in both games after. I think it was like 17-6 and like 4-0. You know, so I think that they, you know, realize that shoot, we need to step up a little. And you know, I think that if you ask any of them, all of them are afraid of Smash House because of the, you know, the big three.
You
Sounds
That's what
like
expect
they do.
you expect Smash House to run away with it tonight?
I don't think they're gonna run away with it. I actually think that Rides to Fly will be out early, but I do think Smash House will win by at least 3 or 4.
The games are where tonight? They're at the new fields that everyone loves.
And Mills Pond, yes. Shout out to Crystal from Mills Pond. If you're watching this,
shout
which
out
you're
to
not,
Joey.
because
Shout out
you
to
don't even know
Joey.
who, you don't even know what HSL is. You just know me. But other than that, you know, yeah, Crystal really hooked it up. And even for next season, we have 3 fields secured. All games will be there. At least, you know, all 9 o'clock games or later games will be there. And then we have one other field that's about 11 minutes away in Plantation High School.
Joey's done great work with the fields, and we appreciate it because it's been a fiasco and chaos. And again, another example: a player is not really necessarily appreciating or knowing the amount of work it goes into. You know, somebody wrote in the chat like, "Oh, could all teams could for this coming season could every A League game be at 7:45?" You know, like it's that simple. Let's put every A League game at 7:45, and I respectfully answered reasons why it can't happen, and Joey agreed. And there's a lot of work that goes into this, and you know, it's very much. I hope Joey that the people in South Florida are thanking you like the people, at least most of the people in HSL are thanking us for the amount of work that you HSL down here that you're putting into it because it's really unbelievable. Like I said, you know, have running a men's league with over probably close to 100 men in it is not simple, especially when it's something that you're doing, you know, in addition to a full-time job that you have. So it's really amazing, and I hope these guys actually acknowledge it and not just take it for granted. And I assume they do. You know, I
Yeah, no,
obviously.
for sure. And I think that the competition, you know, I think that the competition is definitely there. And I think people are very surprised, I would say, by some of the talent that people, I guess, obviously, whether it's, you know, new guys, old guys, whatever it is, people that I never heard of, you know. And I can tell you for next season, you know, I've already gotten complaints from a captain that people are poaching guys from his team, you know, and
Mhm.
I said, yes, it's annoying, but it's also the beauty of it. After one season, people know who they want to play with. They
They
know who
want
the
to
guys
also
are.
they want to win. They're taking it seriously, you know. They want to
Correct.
win.
They want to win,
They
and
want
they're building a team where they're like, we now know who. Even with, you know, my team, I'm guilty of it. We know who's who in the league, and you know they don't want to experiment. They want to win. You know, like we always say, it's not fun losing 19-0.
Now, Joey, I know there's been a lot of before you know. So Joey gave his official prediction. I'm actually going to go against Joey. I'm going to trust my king and savior Menachem Diamond and of course Ira Sasu. By the way, we have to give a huge shout out to both of them. Specifically Ira here. Ira is unbelievable. He has been writing. I don't know if you know about this, Dave, but he's been writing
Sadiq
these
Bola
five.
ear.
He's been writing these
What do you
five,
say, Joey?
six.
Sadiq Bola ear.
No, but like for real, he's been writing these 5, 6 paragraph articles to put into the paper. You know, he messaged me a few days ago, like, "Oh, Kai, I have this, and that," and like I totally missed it because of how crazy it was. I think it was on Sunday, and I apologized to him
I sent it
sincerely.
to you.
He's
Don't
like,
worry.
He's like, "Don't worry, I spoke to Joey. I worked it out. I wrote this whole like it's unbelievable what these guys are doing." And again, Ira's a really busy guy, and he's taking the time out of his day to like sort of make this men's softball league that has no financial benefit to him whatsoever, and really turn it into something much more than just softball. And we really, we have to send him something. Maybe some biggie meat Dave. Maybe we could ship it to Florida. But it's unbelievable what he's been doing. And Menachem, of course, getting things started, and I'm sure a lot of other people behind the scenes. So we really thank them. But I do believe in my king, and I am going to say Menachem Diamond
Are your knees
is
still hurting,
gonna
Avi,
is
from
good.
Menachem, or?
Yes, my knees are still hurting. Menachem Diamond is gonna completely beat up on Burger Hicks tonight. I think they're gonna win. I don't know who's pitching tonight, Menachem or Ira.
Menachem. I didn't say Menachem wouldn't win tonight.
Okay, and I do think Menachem will then face Smash House after defeating Rides to Fly. Okay, I do agree with you. Rides to Fly has had a very tough season after starting off all bright and dandy, and I think they'll win the championship. I'll be there. I'm not going to predict the score until after the playoffs because we'll have another podcast previewing the championship. But I do think King Diamond Seed will We'll honor my prediction from the beginning of the season when I predicted them to win the championship, and I will be sticking.
Their team, they're losing some key players next season.
What do you mean? Explain.
John Eliezer is rehabbing his shoulder. He'll be sitting out.
Oh, really? He's not playing?
Yeah, he'll be sitting out to rehab his tendonitis in his shoulder. Unfortunately,
Oh
Can't
no.
he just get like a cortisone shot?
he's a wuss. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to give
He
him
doesn't
a
want to
Smash
get a
House Player
shot?
of the Week. I don't know, but he doesn't deserve the Smash House Player of the Week.
So what's Menachem doing then? Who's he picking up? How's he gonna recuperate?
Aaron Enoch apparently has some boys in Bal or Bay Harbor, wherever which one it's
I don't
called.
get it. Why can't Enoch bring his own team from Bay Harbor?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but they got someone, so now he doesn't have to carpool. He doesn't have to, hitch a cab anymore. He'll have a carpool getting to the game, so I think that helps him out. And I know that Ira's looking to contend. There were talks that Ira was going to maybe go to a different team, but I think that was shot down real quick. He loves playing behind Menachem, and I think Burger Hicks is keeping the same roster. They're going to run it back. I think, like I've always said, as long as they have their pitcher Hirsch pitching, I think they're in every game. If it was my roster construction, I would add a little more, bat. But it's Martin Burger Schlita's and Yona Burger Schlita's roster, so I will not get involved on that. And Schlesinger, whatever their new team name is next year, will have a revamped team. I think that Tier 1 is going to be a bloodbath. I truly do.
Joey, what was I going to ask?
Not sure.
What? That's a good question. I just forgot.
Right.
What are we? What do you do with the guys I sent you? The 4 guys I sent you who want to be added to the team. Were they ever added to the team?
Is that Tellis? Is that the Baltimore guy?
I'm not sure. Didn't remember I sent you someone's number?
Yeah, they're added to a team. We got a bunch of new players. It happens to be. Shout out to Ira again. 2 weeks ago, we had Mills Pond and Ira, helped coordinate a pickup game, and a bunch of guys came out and asked to join the league. So big shout out to Ira.
So that's the new Baltimore team that's joining.
Yeah. I honestly, they're from Baltimore just because their number's 443. I don't actually know if they've lived in Baltimore within the last 15 years, but just like we called NYEG the Chabad team, they're now the Baltimore team. So yeah, they're gonna be joining. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think that like I said, people know who everyone is now. The banter's good. The umps have been figured out. And we're excited for it. Also, announcement for the playoffs: each game will have 2 umps. That is.
I was actually going to ask about that.
Yes, each game will have 2 umps. That is something that obviously from HSL New York that has been adopted. I think it's very, very and needed. And I'm intrigued to see how the games are going to be tonight. I really am, and we're excited for Corporate to come down next week.
Corporate will be there. Corporate's excited as long as my flight doesn't get messed up. But Corporate spent extra money to avoid Spirit with Double approval in order so that hopefully I make it down there and don't have to, don't have any cancellations. So hopefully I'll be fine and make it safely. And we're very excited. I'm pumped. Well, like I said, we'll recap the playoffs and introduce the championship at some point next week.
And then we'll have we'll have the championship respective captains on as guests.
Yes, for sure. We for sure have to do that.
And Rob the Pest has promised he will come on a podcast.
Even if Rob the Pest loses in the semifinals, he'll still come on?
I don't really care at this point. He's going to be on whether he likes it or not.
All right. And also right now, if I'm not mistaken, we're between 9 and 10 teams. So hopefully the 10th team works out. But if anyone's watching this and wants to get involved in HSL South Florida, we are looking potentially for a 10th team. So even if we do have 10 and you want to be 11, we'll do 11. So if there's any way of this getting to anywhere, we could post, maybe this will post.
Yeah, and maybe everyone should watch out. Maybe HSL football in South Florida will be starting soon.
Oh, yes. Hush, hush, but not hush, hush. Look out for HSL football. We haven't been able to start it down in New York, so we're like, what the heck? Let's get it down in South Florida. So look out for that as well. I know there's been a lot of talk about that.
The Gridiron Gauntlet.
Yes, the Gridiron Gauntlet. We're very excited about that. We're very excited. A little bit more excited today, actually. A little bit of breaking news, but we're going to keep that private.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
We don't count chickens. Good. But without that, we have a few minutes left. Joey, let's talk a little bit more about you. So first question is, do you anticipate any major conflicts with the playoffs and championships? Are you nervous about it? This is the first.
Nah.
Things always get hot at the end of the season, and especially in South Florida, I imagine things will be hot. So curious if you anticipate anything.
I think, to be honest with you, I think more of I don't know why it always happens like this, but more of the tier 2 game. All right, Avi, very good. You got a flame because it was hot. Uh,
Wait, what did Avi do?
he brought
I
a
did
flame.
this. He
He
said
said
hot.
hot, and he's a child.
It was just sitting next to me, so
He's a
thought it'd be
child.
funny. Anyway,
That is funny, Avi.
I happen to think more controversy will be in tier 2 games. For whatever reason, the fights always happen in tier 2 games. I don't know why.
makes sense.
I don't know why. I do think that, I think that
Sorry, I
there'll be
missed
some
it. You don't know why
controversy.
what?
Why
The
there's
fights
always
happen in tier
controversy in
2.
tier 2 games as opposed to
You
tier
know,
1.
it's very interesting because Avi and I grew up in a school of softball where we were taught from the beginning the tier 1 guys are assholes. Remember, Avi? There were
Yeah.
people who told us that. For mine and Avi, certain people those tier 1 is assholes. You don't want to play in that league, etc., etc.
More than that, we were told they're bad people. Forget
Avi,
players,
say the
bad
word.
people.
Say the
No,
word.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that word.
So the truth of the matter is, Joey, you were in tier 2 in the spring softball Sundays last year, and it's just that chat. I don't know if you were in the captain's chat, but that was so much more intense than the tier 1 chat.
Yeah, because
A
I think
lot
that
of
tier
fighting.
2 thinks they're hot stuff and tries to act like tier 1. Tier 1 knows they're hot stuff, so they don't really need to act. But I also happen to think it's funny. It either comes down to the teams that suck are the ones that cause the most controversy, or it's the teams that are. It's never the middle tier teams in tier 2. It's either the top tiers in tier 2 or the absolute garbage of tier 2 for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're compensating for anything. I'm not here to judge. I don't know anything about anyone, and their size doesn't matter. Whatever it is, but I happen to think that that's generally what happens. And yeah, it's true. I mean, even HSL New York, like everyone, you're right. Everyone says about the tier 1 guys. Happen to think that besides Glenn Zuckerman, everyone's the nicest guy ever. Shout out Glenn. I know you don't know me, but we're lovers. Anyways,
Glenn also calls you daddy because you beat him at Seneca Lake, right?
yeah, I am Glenn's daddy, whether he wants to admit it or not, and I will be Steve Pollin's daddy also.
You're Daniel Ash's
Wait.
daddy. You're all these daddies.
Oh yeah, you
everyone-
beat you outdueled Daniel Ash. How are you Steve Pollin's daddy?
I don't know. I'll figure because I have a team and he doesn't. I don't know. I'll figure out something. I'll figure out something.
All right, we gotta go. Okay, Joey, have you learned anything from being serious talk? Have you learned anything
I'll be
from
honest,
being commissioner? Yeah.
It's not an easy job, and I give you guys a lot of credit because I think that even when I deal with Blisco in New York and all this stuff, I'm like, this is like what's so complicated about it, but it's a lot more complicated than people realize. You're dealing with a lot of personalities. You're trying not to be the D-bag because you're running the league, but you also have to be a D-bag because you're running the league. And you get put in certain predicaments where it's like, I don't want to have to deal with this, but I have no choice. And then if you deal with it in a certain way, oh, it's because you're the commissioner, you're doing whatever helps you. Obviously, stop playing with fire. It's one, so it's a lose-lose. You never can win. Somebody's always going to be upset.
Yes,
And
it is.
whether it's the ump's fault, it's this fault, whatever it is, you will never have 100% happiness. No.
Joe, you nailed
There's
it.
also all that
You nailed it.
testosterone,
There's a
I'm
lot
serious.
of testosterone. Yeah, there's a lot of it. So I'm just saying, it really does. It's not made out, and I give you guys credit. It's really not made out what everyone thinks it is, and you'd be shocked about how many people actually care about it more than you realize.
My wife always says, she says, men and their sports.
I learned in the Camp Kaylee. Shout out to Camp Kaylee. Girls are trauma, boys are drama. No, sorry,
Yeah.
boys are trauma, girls are drama. My bad.
Yeah.
What does
Maybe that's why I
what does
worked
it
at
mean?
Kaylee.
I don't know what it means.
Girls always have drama and boys have trauma because of sports.
Because of sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Camp Kaylee, besides for being superior to Seneca at sports, also seems very psychologically minded.
Well, yeah, it's a special needs camp, Dave, so that would make sense.
Wait, Kaylee?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Katz of Crown Care, we have to go. It's always fun with you. A little irreverent, a little saucy, and also
We'll be back next week and be talking about how Menachem Diamondstein and Smash House will be going at it for the championship. Florida Jewish Home, Sensible Alpha Tech, and Smash House. We'll see you in the championship. Tier 2, I don't know as well, so I can't really give my predictions. But Joey had it as which two teams again, Joey? You have
Schlesinger and NYEG.
Well, you're a little biased towards Schlesinger, but
That's
NYEG and
one last
Joey
question:
Katz
is there a face of South Florida softball yet?
Yeah, Iris Doss.
Wow, is he good looking?
He's can't do anything wrong.
I didn't answer the question, Joey. I met Ira. I met Ira. Ira's a good-looking dude. Dave, you never met Ira in person, right?
No, how tall is he?
Not tall, short.
I don't know if he could be the face. You know, we need somebody a little more.
What is he, like
robust.
5'8", probably, maybe, Joey? Is 5'8" the correct
It's taller than
height?
me.
Yeah,
It's taller than
you
me.
know, Zim, if Zim was a little taller, maybe he could be the face. Honestly, the pest is the face. Who are we kidding?
The pest is
Pest,
the face, but we don't know what he. I don't know what he.
We
looks
don't know what
like.
his face looks like. Exactly. No
All
one
right,
knows.
bye guys.
No one knows it. See ya.
Good times.
Bye.